Welcome back to our first segment. We are joined by Dr. Jorge Lopez, a dermatologist, and we're going to talk everything skin issues. You know, at the end of the day, if you know about ringworm, if you know about liver spot, if you know about dry skin, everything under the surface about, you know what, our skin, which is the biggest organ.
The biggest organ, indeed.
So let's welcome, Dr.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Good morning. Yes.
Let's talk about what has been the issue. People always say there are skin issues associated with the heat that we're experiencing. So let's start with that. Are we seeing more people coming forward with skin issues because of this heat that we've been experiencing?
Yeah, I would definitely think so, and especially those people with sensitive skin, right? They tend to suffer more. So it's always important for people to remember that when it comes to skincare, moisturizing your skin is probably one of the most important steps to keep your skin healthy, right? So for people with sensitive skin, we want unscented products, right? Be it body wash or moisturizers, unscented is the way to go, right?
Doctor, I will play devil's advocate because you're saying that we have to moisturize, but there are anti-lotion users, anti-moisturizers because it's so hot. We sweat a lot, and that's one of the main reasons why I've heard that people don't moisturize. What is your argument to that?
Okay, well, moisturizing, first of all, right, there's a myth. If you want your skin to be hydrated, drink plenty of water. That's completely false.
I did not know that, and that is true.
When it comes to your general health, right, being hydrated is very important. But when it comes to the skin likes it straight onto it. So the way to moisturize your skin is basically applying a lotion, right? Now, if you sweat or not, obviously in this heat you tend to sweat more, but there are some tricks that we teach our patients. For example, if you don't want that greasy feeling, and some patients complain that when they use the lotion it makes them sweat more. So there's a very easy way to go around. For example, when you come out of the shower with your skin still damp, you have a 3-minute window. You slather your lotion, that goes in deeper into the skin. Moisture locks much better, and you don't get much of that greasy feeling. So that would be an easy fix for those people that say that you know, using lotion is something uncomfortable. The other thing you can do is, if in the morning it's a problem, you could do it at night, right? So, and then you have different type of lotions, and there are some brands that have lighter products, right? So I would say it's definitely, no matter if you have sensitive skin or not, the moisturizing of your skin pretty much keeps it in top shape, so your skin could do its job, which is to protect you from environmental triggers, right?
Let's talk about what are some of the, I guess, the reasons why people would come to see you. Like, what are the issues that you're seeing most prevalent in terms of skin?
That's a good one, but to be honest with you, my field, it's so vast, so extensive, so we see a lot of things. In my case, I see kids too. So for example, with kids, there's what people call rashes, which is atopic dermatitis. That's something that is very common. You have what people call ringworm. And this one, I probably would like to mention just very quickly. When the ringworm or a fungal infection of the scalp happens in kids, please don't waste time using creams, because that doesn't do anything. When we have a fungal infection on the scalp in kids, you need to give oral medication. So the best thing is really to go to a dermatologist. So that medication could be prescribed, because in some cases, this ringworm, if it gets inflamed, the kid will permanently lose his or her hair on that area.
No, normally we would have just, as parents, would have just get there and just start to scratch and scratch and scratch and you know, feel that, okay, do that, and then you take some lime and you rub over it, and that's going to, you know, and that's going,
Vicks.
Yeah, Vicks, Vicks solves everything. You know, that's what we do, because like it's in our nature to just, you know what, we need to apply something to this rash or this.
And even some physicians, non-dermatologists, of course, they would prescribe patients with cream. So I would really like to take the opportunity to remind patients that if you see something on your kid's scalp, it's best to take him or her either to a pediatrician or to a dermatologist, I would say, right?
So, you know, Doc, you said two things that I think a lot of us did not realize, which was one, if you drink a lot of water, it's not going to hydrate you.
Yeah.
And then now, when you have these ringworms in there, it's not to put anything topical, cream or anything like that. What else is there that we need to know that we're doing that may be wrong?
Okay,
you know?
And another big one is when people have what they call dry scalp, right? So it's like a dandruff, but it's very dry. So the automatic response I see is people applying oils on the scalp. And that's completely wrong. That makes the problem worse.
Wow.
Right? Seborrheic dermatitis, which is pretty much like a more severe dandruff, it's caused by a yeast, a type of fungus. And when you use anything oily, that's going to feed the yeast. So even though the dryness on your scalp is less noticeable, after you apply the oil, you're actually making the problem worse, right? And that has to do also with the frequency of washing your scalp, because our scalp produces oil on its own. So if you are washing your hair every 10 days and you're in this heat, you're going to be sweating more, you're going to be producing more oil, and if you're washing it every 10 days. So that oil, that sweat is piling up. So that's more food for the yeast. So the problem gets worse, right? So there's no like fixed recipe for saying, okay, wash your scalp every 2 days or every day or every week. It really depends on your lifestyle, how physically active you are, if you spend most of the day in AC or not, if you're prone to having dandruff or not. So you have to adjust really to your lifestyle, right?
I want to take things over to, or back to the topic of sensitive skin. We know that sensitive skin is somewhat genetic, but is there a way to reverse that? Because, I mean, to be honest, doctor, I've seen people that have to use special towels to only deal with their face. Well, I mean, that's another question. Why is it that guys can dry their face with the towel they dried their bodies with? Could you narrow that down for us? It is the truth. It is the truth. Yes. Oh, see, we said you can't.
I'm sorry.
All right. So, what was the first question again?
First of all, let's talk sensitive skin.
Okay.
Can we reverse it? Why can't we just dry our faces with the towels we dried our bodies?
All right. So when it comes to sensitive skin, there's a very interesting connection. If somebody has sinus issues, right? Like you get to sneeze when there's a strong scent, or when the weather changes, or when there's a lot of dust, or if you're asthmatic, you will tend to have sensitive skin, right? So there's a connection between having respiratory allergies and sensitive skin.
Really? Okay.
We know that for a fact, right? So if you have any of these issues, more than likely you'll have sensitive skin. Now, it is genetic in a sense, not, we could say inherited as such, like from, you know, from dad or mom to son. It doesn't necessarily happen like that, but it goes in the genes. Because there's a difference between something genetic and something inherited. Inherited would mean that basically
it came from your mom or your dad.
it goes straight, right, from one generation to another most of the time. Genetic means that the gene is there in you, but maybe in your brother is not, because we're unique, right?
Yeah.
So when it comes to sensitive skin, we know for a fact that sensitive skin tends to be drier. So when you do unmoisturize, you are bringing that skin back to its healthy state. So that's why I told you one of the most important advices we give is to moisturize the skin, right? And then using a moisturizer is one thing, but then the other is avoiding triggers. A lot of my patients, for some reason, and I think maybe a lot of people, they use fabric softeners, for example, for your clothes, right? And this could be many times a trigger for irritating your skin and getting rashes, right? So you have to moisturize your skin, and you also want to avoid having triggers like products that have perfumes, which ultimately are chemicals, right? So, yeah.
You know, I was looking at the screen just now, and there's this whole process that it speaks about where you get up in the morning, you're supposed to use a cleanser and use a toner and all of that. I know there are people who do these things, they're routine.
I wanna add to that, because I feel like the skincare industry has blown up, where I don't remember 10 years ago having a 5-step, 6-step process from beauty brands where you have to use a toner, a cleanser, you have to use retinol, and it's like sunscreen, serums, all these steps that you must do at night and at morning to supposedly slow down aging.
Yeah, it's really unbelievable, right?
And it gets overwhelming.
Yeah, it's talking about protecting your skin from sun, that you should use sunscreen during the day.
Yeah, there's a lot of misinformation. A big one I get, a lot of my patients, aesthetic patients, ask me about collagen, for example, right? Okay, Doc, I got this cream or this serum and it has collagen. Those are worthless. Collagen, it's a big size molecule, so it cannot penetrate the skin. So right there, you know, we know for a fact collagen doesn't work when you apply it onto the skin. There are other things you can do. You can use, if you want to boost your collagen, right, like using sunscreen and avoiding sun damage. Vitamin C works very good. Retinol, vitamin A works very good. And then doing some procedures, we do chemical peel, IPL, any type of light-based device, laser, that helps boost collagen. But collagen applied on the skin, that simply, it's worthless,
Sir, so I have a darker complexion. I have more melanin in my skin. Does that protect me more from being sunburned? How does that protect me? Do I need to use sunscreen? You know?
Yeah,
Talk to us about that.
That's an excellent question. Thank you for posing that question. Okay, so say I'm white, right? My natural SPF would be a 6. And if I am very, very, very dark, my natural SPF on my skin, that would be 16. So we know that the minimum SPF would be 30. So herein lies your answer. We all need sunscreen. We all can suffer of skin cancer. Skin cancer, it's more prevalent in people with lighter skin. But when it comes to people with darker skin, we tend to see a higher mortality because those people go later on, like when the cancer is already advanced, right? As opposed to people with lighter skin, they go earlier. So we have skin cancer in all type of skin, and we all need sunscreen.
What are types of skin cancers? What are types of skin cancers?
Oh, you have different ones. You have the most common one is called basal cell carcinoma, and this one luckily grows very, very slowly on your skin. You would be surprised. It could look just like a regular mole, right? So this one grows very slowly, and normally with surgery we'd get rid of it. You have some more severe types like squamous cell carcinoma. You have the deadliest one, which is melanoma, and that one tends to be portrayed as a very dark spot, right? But there is a type of melanoma which is pink in color.
Wow.
So the message here would be know your skin, know your body, and if you have any mole that is changing or changed suddenly, say in shape, in size, in thickness, it's better you go see your dermatologist, because skin cancer could look like pretty much anything, right? So we normally, like in my case, when I suspect skin cancer, there's a technique we do which is called dermatoscopy or dermoscopy, and this is like using an equipment that it's like a microscope for the skin, so that allows to see into the skin, and that facilitates making the diagnosis of skin cancer, right? So it's something to be taken seriously, because most of the time skin cancer could be dealt with if it's early with a surgery, and that's about it.
And it's presented at any age. It's not.
It's possible to have it in kids, but it's rare. Definitely, it's more rare. But adults, definitely.
So is it based on more exposure to the sun? For instance, would persons living on islands, the Keys, have a higher chance?
Also a very, very interesting question. Here's the thing, it's not so clear cut, because you do have skin cancers that are directly related to sun exposure, like basal cell carcinoma, right? So the more sunlight or sun damage you get, the higher your chances of having basal cell carcinoma. But for example, with melanoma, yes, we tend to see it in skin that has been damaged by the sun, but also melanoma could appear on areas where you hardly get exposed to the sun. Like Bob Marley, remember, his melanoma was the bottom of his foot. Right? So that's why I was telling you, the best thing is for you to know check your moles, where you have them, and make sure
changed over time.
that you do look at them like once a month, check them, and if anything, go to your dermatologist. But for the majority or for the most common type of skin cancer, I would say the more sun damage your skin gets, then the more likely it is for you to have skin cancer, at least the basal cell carcinoma.
So it's not good to get sunburn.
Oh, for you to have an idea, say you are 5 years old and you get sunburned. That sunburn will have a consequence whenever you're an adult. It pretty much doubles your chances of having skin cancer, right? So when it comes to skin cancer, it's not like, okay, I go out in the sun and I will have skin cancer. Like every cancer, it's multifactorial.
Of course.
Genetics and everything, right? Environment and so. But the more factors you add, the more likely it is.
Yeah.
Right? So sunscreen is something very, very important, especially in to start as you're a kid, right? So remember, before 6 months of age, we don't use sunscreen, and we do not expose kids to the sun, right? So it doesn't matter if you're under the shade, on the beach, if your kid is 6 months or younger, you should not be there.
That's interesting, because remember I was telling you last week about
agriculture, yeah.
There were some people there with babies, or they look like newborns, and out in that sweltering heat. I couldn't understand why would a parent take his or her child out.
It hurts me when I see it. Yeah.
You know, I would have wanted to knock them in the head and say like, hey, you know, but in terms of like, you know, people, ladies going on the beach, you know, in their swimsuits and all of that, what advice would you have for them, or even boaters being out there on, you know, the waters and exposed? What advice would you have for them in terms of protecting their skin? You know?
Okay, well, first of all, if you are by the beach, not even in the water, by the beach or in the water, the increase in UV radiation is about 25%, just because of the reflection, right? So immediately you are more exposed. Sunscreen, it's definitely a must. Remember, we want to use reef safe sunscreens. Not every sunscreen is reef safe. Actually, the majority are not. So that's something very important. And then physical methods, like, you know, using a rash guard, like long sleeves, a buff. So the sunscreen, the problem with the sunscreen is whenever we use it, we tend to use very little of it. Like when I ask my patients, right, they come in because they want to do a rejuvenation program or whatever. Okay, my first question, do you use sunscreen? Yes, doctor, I do. How many times? Oh, just in the morning, or whenever I'm gonna go out. That's not helping at all. We should apply sunscreen at least, the bare minimum is twice for the day. That's the bare minimum. Now, but I'm in the office for the whole day, right? Maybe for you guys it works because there's no windows, but once you have windows, UVB is blocked by the glass, but UVA can go through the window. So that UVA is gonna end up improving the chances of your skin getting older, right? And also of skin cancer. So sunscreen is something you have to use.
You know, and then they have people, when they put on the sunscreen, they rub it out like if it's lotion.
So you shouldn't do
like
that?
massage it into the skin, and you shouldn't, right?
Okay, so that brings me to the two types of sunscreens. You have organic and inorganic, or mineral and chemical. When it comes to the chemical sunscreens, which is the majority, the ones that have the spray and everything, those actually require 30 minutes between me applying it and that sunscreen already working. When it comes to the mineral one, the beauty of them is that I apply it right now and I'm ready to go, right? So when it comes to sunscreen, there's really nothing wrong in rubbing it or anything. That's something.
So we had a comment from a viewer, and the viewer is saying that they had a skin problem and a doctor recommended for them to bathe in milk. Is that a thing?
Well, Cleopatra did it in Egypt, right? Because when it comes to milk, the lactic acid, we do chemical peels with lactic acid, right? We recommend baths with oatmeals. That's very good for for sensitive. If you have a tub, we would recommend that, especially for kids with sensitive skin and they have the rash. It's something you could do.
So what does that do?
But
the one with the milk, I'm not really sure what exactly was the point. No.
You know, he said, remember Cleopatra did that, but you're right. It was, she did it to stay young, you know, keep her skin young. That's what, at least that's what they said.
Exactly.
I also want to touch on another, I mean, well-known, I guess, practice, and that's for the skin issue of liver spots. Well, what we consider liver spots to be. And if you go to a dermatologist, some of them may tell you that it's a fungal thing, but if you're at home, and I'm sure that they would give you some type of pill and a topical cream, but at home they tell you drink bush medicine and it's gone. I have had issues with liver spots and spent hundreds of dollars getting pills, creams, and nothing really happens, and like 2 weeks straight of 3 different types of bush medicine, and I'm good to go.
Yeah.
Could you talk about that? Is that a myth? Maybe did the cream work and I just stopped just as it started to work?
Okay, so liver spots, first of all, nothing to do with the liver.
Okay.
Right? I've been trying to figure out, doing a little research, and I have not come to the reason as to why it's linked to the liver, right? But nothing to do with the liver. It has everything to do with a yeast, a type of fungus. But this yeast is supposed to live on our skin. So it's part of the normal flora, so to speak. What happens is, in certain people, like the ones that have the liver spots, whenever the right environmental circumstances are there, then the yeast thrives in number. Once it crosses a threshold, the spots start to appear. So what are those circumstances? Moisture and heat. So this is the perfect environment for it.
Exactly.
Because honestly, doctor, at one point I thought my liver spot was seasonal.
Yeah, correct.
I really did.
Yeah, that's why most people start to see it, you know, in the summer or when the heat is on, right?
Yeah.
So, but it has nothing to do with the liver. The treatment is very straightforward. What happens is we have 80% chances of recurrence. So say you go to my clinic and you tell me, Doc, I have this problem. I diagnose it as pityriasis versicolor. That's the name we have for it.
I know that name.
Right? So if I forget to tell you that this treatment has to have some sort of maintenance protocol, you are not going to be happy with me. Because the spots after the treatment, they don't disappear right away.
I was told
It
that.
takes some weeks for them to go. But if you keep in this under the same circumstances, you know, working out every day, sweating every day, in this heat every day, so there will be a recurrence of that. So you're not going to get rid of them.
So can anyone get liver spots then? Because I also feel like I was just not a favorite and I got it. Because I've seen people that never had that before.
Okay, yes. No, there is definitely what we call a genetical predisposition.
Okay.
It does not happen with everyone or to everyone.
Okay.
The light skin.
Yeah. So my next question is, did the bush medicine help? Because I have grandparents that swear by it.
I'm a complete ignorant when it comes to bush medicine, right?
So maybe I just took that for something else, and it kind of the creams. It was just at the margin when the creams started working.
It's funny, you know. Say I have liver spots, and I take a trip up north, right? And the weather is cool. If I'm there for a week or longer, the liver spots disappear.
I've experienced that as well.
No treatment whatsoever. So that's how important the environment is.
So another bush medicine, that's basically what's up.
And I tortured myself 2 times a day, doctor, morning and night.
Yeah.
And it wasn't only one type of bush medicine, it was like 3 of them. And I'm sure our viewers know.
So you got your purge.
All the purges
The
you
aloe
can
vera,
pick
the samila.
Yeah.
So I want to narrow things down though as we're winding down. When it comes to skincare, is there a simple step that you would recommend for us to do that is not completely expensive but is economical for everyone and really helps in the long term?
Okay. Yeah, it's actually very simple, and like you mentioned, right? It's overwhelming the protocols they present to you or they want to push to you to keep your skin healthy, right? But it's very, very simple. First of all, a golden rule is when it comes to the face, less is more. So basically, if you want to rejuvenate your skin, if you want your skin to be healthy, all you need is 2 things. 1, sunscreen, and reapplying it at least once a day. And 2, a moisturizer. That's it. Right?
No vitamin C, no vitamin D, no vitamin...
But I don't want to look oily all day.
I mean...
This is what you need, right? Now, it's not the same protocol for you than for an older person like me, right?
Okay.
So if I'm over 40 already, or if I was over 40, then I would need vitamin C, for example,
Okay.
or a retinol, which work with the collagen, right? So it varies depending on your age and your purposes, but I would say something that applies for everyone, sunscreen, that's very, very important, and a moisturizer.
And the type of moisturizers are a general lotion that's not scented.
That's not scented,
Okay.
right? When it comes to washing, I get this a lot when I see patients with acne, right? They're very peculiar in choosing a cleanser or a face wash. Normally, face washes have very little effect on treating acne or any other condition.
So we don't need it?
You don't really need it unless, you know, you are working in the field and your skin gets very dirty. But other than that, whenever we know for a fact that if you're washing your face more than twice a day, your skin will get oilier.
Really?
If you are using those wipes or drapes for oiliness, your skin tends to get oilier.
Oh, wow.
Because the skin is very primitive in its thinking. So whenever you're rubbing, you know, if you're using a rag, you're sweating, you're rubbing, the skin takes that as an aggression, and it
so I need to
defends
defend
itself
myself.
with more oil
Wow.
production, right? So when it comes to washing your face, really once or twice for the day, that's all you need. You don't really need like a special cleanser. You want something that doesn't irritate it, period. If you find that, you're good.
Yeah.
But they also say that the oilier your skin, the better you age, right? So it protects you from wrinkling and all of that, right?
Yeah, but patients don't like it. They don't like to look shiny.
Yeah.
Right? So it's mostly the patients that complain about
Having oily
their
skin.
skin being too oily. And you don't want to have your skin too oily also, because then that makes your skin more prone for acne.
Yeah.
Right? And here diet plays a role. For example, we know if you're eating a lot of carbs or high or foods high in carbs, your skin will tend to produce more oil.
Really? I didn't know that.
Or if you do a lot of dairy products. Like my patients with acne, they know no dairy.
Oh, dairy.
products.
Yeah, I've
heard
personally
that.
been in your office, so I know. But we want to say thank you so much. If you have any last words in regards to advice to persons suffering with skin issues, or just general tips that they can take away from this segment.
Okay, well, I would say try to take care of your skin using a moisturizer. Sunscreen is very important. And whenever you're having skin issues, the best thing is always to visit your dermatologist, definitely.
All right.
Thank you for
Perfect.
having me, guys.
Thank you so much, Dr.
It's a
Lopez.
pleasure.
This was such a rich conversation, and I know that aside from us here on set, the viewers can take away so much from this conversation when it comes to the health of our skin. That's how we stay looking young, right?
Exactly.
Yes. All right. We're going to take our second break, and when we come back, we'll be jumping into our second segment.
Yes.
Don't go away.